In the scorching apocalypse, the base hasn't had a newborn in years. I married into the base leader's family with the good fortune jade bangle, and now I'm pregnant with twins. My status soared with my children, and I lived a pampered life in the fortress, adored by the people, but my sister could only wield that jade bangle representing strength and wisdom, battling mutated insects under 70-degree heat. At my son's full moon banquet, the leader announced I was pregnant with my second child. My sister, filled with hatred, hid among the congratulating crowd and stabbed me to death. The next time I opened my eyes, my sister had already snatched the good fortune jade bangle from our mother's hand. It's time for you to taste the bitterness of the apocalypse. But she didn't know that the life I lived, seemingly showered with blessings, was the true apocalypse. You two sisters must choose for yourselves. One represents beauty and fertility, the other represents strength and wisdom. Mom held two jade bangles, one green and one purple, deciding which of us sisters would marry the leader and which would join the main force to fight. He pushed me aside. I'll marry him. She eagerly snatched the green bangle and put it on. With a flash of white light, the green bangle transformed into a subtle green line that seeped into her skin. She stared intently at the green line on her wrist, as if it were a treasured jewel, and let out a sigh of relief. Mom seemed a bit surprised. Are you sure? Although leader Lu Yongzhou was powerful and influential, he was ugly, and He Yao had never paid him any mind. She had always been arrogant, so this action of hers was quite out of character. Sister is so good to me, I can't bear to let sister marry an ugly monster. Mom was silent for a moment, handed me the purple bracelet, and said sternly, protect your sister from now on. He Yao only shifted her gaze after that wisp of purple thread completely merged into her skin. She threw herself into her mother's arms and said sweetly, Mom, when will I get married? You're so shameless, such deep mother-daughter love. In Mom's eyes, He Yao was always a little princess, and it was a huge injustice for her to choose to marry Lu Yongzhou today. But she didn't see the look in He Yao's eyes as she kicked me while I was down. She also didn't know that we had both been reborn. It is now the 5th year of the apocalypse, and the base has begun to take shape, with most supplies being self-sufficient. However, due to the high temperatures, mutated insects have appeared, and anyone bitten by them will lose their fertility. There have been no happy tidings from the base for 3 years. Dad was the previous search team leader, and before he sacrificed himself, he gave Mom 2 bracelets, saying they were life-saving items. In the previous life, to avoid marrying Lu Yongzhou, He Yao used my name to invite him to dinner, got him drunk, drugged me, and sent me to Lu Yongzhou's bed, then broadcasted on the base's video, ruining my reputation. With the deed done, I was forced to wear that green bracelet, but the days of following the search team to find supplies were not as easy as she imagined. Mutated insects, temperatures of 70 degrees, desolate ruins. Each element was driving her to despair. Captain Chen Chong was extremely harsh on her, keeping her behind for individual physical training every day. After the search ended, finally, He Yao couldn't take it anymore. She drugged everyone in the search team's water, sprinkled powder to attract mutated insects, and took everyone's lives. With the base warehouse key and map, she headed straight for the neighboring city base. Unexpectedly, when she got there, she was treated as the lowest slave, at the mercy of others. She survived for half a year and escaped during a riot in the base, but she dared not return and could only wander, eventually sneaking into the banquet held for me. By then, I had already given birth to twin boys. With food and drink readily available, I lived a life of ease in the air-conditioned room, being fed and dressed. The entire base revered me as a goddess, believing I had given everyone hope for survival. Compared to He Yao, one of us is a goddess, and the other is a wanted criminal. Even her mother, who used to dote on her the most, had completely forgotten she had a missing daughter. He Yao went mad. Upon hearing Lu Yongzhou announce that I was pregnant again, she rushed forward and killed me, regardless of the consequences. That's why, in this new life, she is so eager to marry Lu Yongzhou, as she wished. The next day I started physical training with Chen Chong to join the search team. Chen Chong was very young, well built, with skin tanned red. He seemed a bit reluctant to see me. Lu, the search team is very tough. You can still regret it now. I smiled and put on my protective suit. Captain, you're not much older than me. Don't underestimate me. That night, I moved into the search team's dormitory. As I was leaving, my mom, uncharacteristically, showed me some affection. Protect yourself well out there. Mom made some of your favorite dishes for you. Take them with you. He Yao saw this and whined that Mom was playing favorites. Mom comforted her. Your sister won't be coming back after this. Mom just needs to tell her a few things, lest she forgets about you. I nodded. I understand. I'll protect my sister from now on. He-Yao looked pleased, confident that this time, she would be the leader's wife enjoying all the glory and wealth, giving birth to twins and being respected. As for me, her older sister, she desperately wanted to see me suffer under Chen Chang's torment. She was convinced that I would end up as miserable as she was in her previous life. But my dear sister, this seemingly impregnable fortress is the real hell on earth. In this apocalypse, what's the use of having children? Those with ability are gods. The 70-degree heat was indeed unbearable. In just 2 days, my fair skin peeled off a layer. Chen Chang wanted me to stay in the warehouse and do some easy work organizing supplies, but I refused. Captain, since I'm here, I'm prepared to endure hardship. The apocalypse doesn't support idle people. Chen Chang took out a stack of blood-stained shoulder insignia and said gravely, almost every day someone in the search team sacrifices themselves. Even with external help, you might not survive. I nodded slightly. So I'll have to trouble you, Captain, to train me. I'll become the strongest member under you. Chen Chang was stunned for a moment, a flicker of shock in his eyes. He hadn't expected me to have such determination. Okay, he laughed heartily. Then don't you dare cry out in pain. My team members aren't wimps. Chen Chang used to be a special forces member, exceptionally capable. From that day on, he required me to wake up at 5 in the morning for a morning run like him, taught me various basic combat skills in the morning, gun handling in the afternoon, and strength training in the evening. At first, I couldn't even hold a weapon steadily, and I was covered in injuries, big and small. The other team members, under orders, were not allowed to treat me as a woman, so, during training, I was always beaten up pretty badly. Chen Chang wanted me to grow faster. In this world, relying on oneself is better than relying on anyone else. I trained desperately, and with the bracelet's enhancement, my progress was rapid. After 3 months, I could defeat all my teammates and fight Chen Chang to a draw. He smiled and put on his sunglasses, rubbing his wrist which I had bruised. Got some skills. I wasn't wrong about you. I high-fived him. Let's go on patrol. Chatting on the way, a teammate named Li Guiyuan mentioned, recently, a group of refugees from S-City seems to have come here. Last patrol, we saw a car with S-City license plates. It suddenly occurred to me that around this time in my previous life, a group of ruthless bandits from before the apocalypse were roaming this area. Chen Chang was seriously injured protecting He-Yao, and the entire team suffered heavy casualties. I tried hard to recall what He-Yao had said in my past life, and my expression changed. Wait, don't cross the bridge. As soon as I finished speaking, a bullet whizzed past my face. Take cover. Chen Chang pushed me down, and a team quickly engaged in combat. This was my first real combat, and it was truly exhilarating. This time, no one held us back. The entire team suffered no casualties, and all those fierce bandits were shot dead. The spoils of war were abundant. Lu Yongzhou was overjoyed upon hearing this and invited us to the base management banquet. He said he had happy news to announce. Counting the days, He-Yao should be pregnant. I was a little curious if, in this life, she was living the superior life she desired in that golden house. I was the only female member of the search team, and the first woman to work outside the base. Other women were only allowed to stay within the base, burdened with the responsibility of childbirth. Therefore, when I appeared on the base's main screen, all eyes turned to me. Lu Yongzhou shook hands with the team members one by one, specifically praising me for being as capable as any man. He-Yao, nestled against his chest, said in a charming voice, "What's so praiseworthy about fighting? I'm the one carrying your child." Lu Yongzhou kissed her passionately and announced to the camera, "My wife is 2 months pregnant, and she has given the entire base hope for survival." Congratulatory shouts rose from all sides. He-Yao reveled in the flattery, feeling quite pleased. After the banquet, the couple kept me behind to speak with me alone. "Yao wants to talk to you. Please keep her company." He-Yao pulled me to the living room. She was wearing a gorgeous dress, adorned with countless luxury items. Looking at me, I was in a dirty combat uniform, my head covered in blood. No matter how you looked at it, we didn't seem like sisters. He-Yao sneered. "Sister, you haven't been doing well these past few months, have you? Your face is almost rotten. Forget about men. Even I feel like throwing up when I look at you." I gave a non-committal reply. "Pretty good. I'm doing all right. Being able to focus on improving my own strength, having a group of close friends who'd die for me, living freely without having to watch my master's face. Days like these are truly wonderful." But He-Yao didn't believe me, looking like she wouldn't rest until she heard me complain. "Stop pretending to be tough, sister. Look at me, I have a baby now, and Yongzhou loves me even more, and look at your muscles, all big and bulky, so ugly, always fighting and killing. It's so boring, I retorted. Most people in this base are like me, bored and always fighting and killing. Are you looking down on all of us? She was about to say something else, but was interrupted by the sound of a door opening. A group of people swaggered in, accompanied by a shrill, aged female voice. I said I wanted to eat foie gras today. If you don't serve it, I'll kick all of you out. The person who arrived was Lu Yongzhou's mother, He Yao's most troublesome mother-in-law, Wang Wan. He Yao quickly bent over and respectfully extended her hand to help her. Wang Wan looked disdainful and snorted. We're not eating foie gras today. He Yao, you go and make me braised pork. You always say you're filial to me, so do something practical to show me. He Yao's face turned pale, her fingers clenched tightly. She took the bloody pork from the chef and endured the nausea, to busy herself in the kitchen. She was already suffering from severe morning sickness, and the smell of meat made her feel even more nauseous. In no time, she had vomited all over the floor. She had even vomited bile. Truly pitiful. The young woman beside Wang Wan covered her nose and said with disgust, Auntie Wang, I think sister-in-law is deliberately starving you. The speaker was the daughter of Wang Wan's first love, and also Lu Yongzhou's, White Moonlight, Chen Xian. Hearing this, Wang Wan became furious and slapped He Yao hard. Useless thing, do you know how rare pork is? He Yao clutched her stomach, her eyebrows furrowed, blood at the corner of her mouth. No one dared to stop her and could only try to appease Wang Wan. This absurd plot has played out countless times on me in my past life. Wang Wan, relying on the fact that she was Lu Yongzhou's biological mother, was a tyrant at the base, committing all sorts of evil. Lu Yongzhou was foolishly filial. He would only tell everyone to endure it. She was very unhappy about my pregnancy, and with Chen Xian's instigation, Wang Wan often found excuses to punish me. My entire pregnancy was very difficult. Fortunately, it's not me suffering now. I blew on the tea, leisurely and happy. A group of people busied themselves, making me stand out even more. Wang Wan finally noticed me, sizing me up and down. Are you the He Lu who got military merit? He Yao's sister. I nodded, neither humble nor overbearing. She covered her nose, clearly disgusted. Someone this dirty can come into my house. I think He Yao is getting more and more out of line. Go help her cook the dishes that your sister can't do. I got up to leave, my tone cold. Can't do it. I still have training. I'm leaving now. Wang Wan had someone stop me. If you don't finish cooking for me today, you're not leaving. Are you sure? Stop the nonsense. Hurry up. As Wang Wan instructed, I prepared 4 dishes and 1 soup for her. He Yao gloated by the side. What's the point of being a hero? You still have to listen to Wang Wan and cook for me. I dished out the last dish and said with a smile, is this the life of superiority you were talking about? Even though she was now acting meek and being treated as a production tool, she still tried to maintain a facade of respectability. I am respecting my elders. It's much better than you risking your life outside. Is that so? It had been half an hour since I was supposed to rejoin my team. According to regulations, no one was allowed to be late without reason for any matter. No one is allowed to deliberately make things difficult for search team members without cause. As expected, when I came out, Chen Chong was pulling Lu Yongzhou, asking Wang Wan for me. I put down the soup bowl, inadvertently revealing my scalded wrist, and said meekly, sorry for making everyone worry. Madame Wang was hungry, and no one here knew how to cook, so she asked me to stay and finish cooking for her before leaving. Chen Chong understood my hint and said sternly, does Mr. Lu's family not have a nanny for my team members to cook personally? If her hand is scalded and she can't hold a knife, don't blame us for not being able to defend this base. Wang Wan yelled, shameless, who do you think you are to scold me? This base will continue to run without you. Chen Xian and He Yao also joined in crying, and the room instantly became more chaotic than a chicken coop. Lu Yongzhou pressed his temples and roared, all of you, shut up. Mom, can you stop causing trouble for me? And He Yao, I asked you to entertain your sister properly, not to bring her back to cook. He Yao stopped sobbing, a look of disbelief on her face. Honey, Mom and Chen Xian suggested it. It has nothing to do with me. How could Lu Yongzhou blame Chen Xian? He was extremely impatient, waved his hand, and let his assistant take them away. You stay in the room until the baby is born. Don't come out and be an eyesore. He Yao was dragged away by people on both sides, and no matter how much she cried and begged, it was no use. The door closed, and the world became quiet. I'm sorry to my sister today. We're family, so don't say such things. My mom didn't mean it. Sister, hurry back to training. After I finished speaking, he gave me a set of the base's latest protective suit as compensation. After everything was handled, I went back and checked on my mom on my way. She heard that Yao was punished and reprimanded me for not knowing how to protect my sister. Why didn't you plead for her? You have so many achievements. If you ask, your son-in-law won't disagree. As a girl, in the end, you'll still have to rely on your sister to pick a good husband for you to marry. Just you wait. If you're so clueless, no one will want to marry you in the future. I really can't understand what's so great about getting married. My abilities are no less than any man, even much better than them. The thought of being locked in a room in my previous life, endlessly repeating the act of having children, made me sick. Mom, I think you envy my sister. Why don't you let my sister pick a man for you first? Having children is such a good thing. You should go have some too. The search team's work is intense and arduous. For the safety of the base, everyone lives in constant fear. 4 months later, as our team walked not far from the base, we were surrounded by a swarm of mutated hornets. Under normal circumstances, as long as we hold our breath and stay still, the bee swarm will fly away. But today, the bee swarm became more and more agitated. Fist-sized hornets charged directly at our faces. Even wearing protective suits couldn't withstand the bee swarm's prolonged attack. Chen Chong and I exchanged a look and spoke at the same time. Run, Captain. You go first. I'll cover your retreat. My suit was the one Lu Yongzhou gave me last time. The latest model is much sturdier than the ones they are wearing. Chen Chong gave me a deep look, left me the weapon in his hand, and then covered his teammates as they retreated. After fighting the bee swarm for half an hour, I used up the last of the insecticide, barely managing to stop the swarm's attack. I dragged my battered body towards the base, and from a distance, I saw Chen Chong running to meet me, ignoring the dissuasion. In the second before collapsing, I heard his calls in my ears. When I woke up again, it was already past midnight. Chen Chong was holding my hand and watching over me by the bedside. Seeing me open my eyes, he quickly let go of my hand, a blush rising on his face. It's good that you're awake. You've been detoxified. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? My head was still a bit dizzy, and I shook my head slightly. What happened today is very strange. The bee swarm shouldn't have such strong attack power normally. A flash of fierceness crossed his eyes. He handed me the computer to look at. It's been figured out. Yao sprinkled powder on our clothes that stimulates mutated insects. Fortunately, we encountered a bee swarm today. If we had encountered something else, the consequences would be unimaginable. I yanked out the 4-needle and rushed out with the computer. Chen Chong steadied my staggering form, forcing me to calm down. Yao had a premature birth. She's a great contributor now. There's no use in you going there right now. I was so angry my eyes turned red. Then are we just going to let our brothers be tricked for nothing? Chen Chong closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said in a deep voice, you focus on recovering first. I'll go check the situation over there. He was afraid something might happen to me, so he called a few teammates to accompany me. A few people were still young, chattering so loudly that it gave me a headache. Half an hour later, Chen Chong came back. She gave birth to a girl. I was surprised. A girl. It seems that in the previous life, being able to have twins was not entirely due to the bracelet's credit. I can imagine Yao must be racking her brain right now, with new and old grievances. When else should I go to watch the fun if not now? Similarly, as a father, Lu Yongzhou is nowhere near as happy as in the previous life. In his eyes, giving birth to a girl is useless. Congratulations, brother-in-law. Lu Yongzhou's smile was forced, and a group of people gathered around the bed, each with their own thoughts. Chen Xian and Wang Wan were still sitting on the sofa, kicking her while she was down. Wasted so much time, and ended up with a girl. What a waste. Exactly. And she was shouting about carrying twin boys. I think she's a fraud. That broken bracelet is also fake. Yao was very weak and didn't have the energy to argue with them. She didn't even look at her daughter in the swaddle. Husband, I want my sister to stay with me alone. Lu Yongzhou nodded, eager to leave quickly. As Chen Chong left, he put a recording pen into my palm. Be careful. I smiled and walked to her bedside and sat down, tucking her in. How does it feel to be a mother for the first time? Yao shed her disguise, her eyes wide open. Why did I only give birth to a girl? How would I know? She sat up forcefully, breaking out in a cold sweat from the pain. The bracelet has other uses, right? Why is everything different? I should have given birth to 2 boys. Don't be angry. I picked up the medicine bowl on the table, blew on it, and said gently, what's different? I didn't run to the next base to be a for pleasure like you did. Or did you not give birth to twins like me? Yao was stunned, and threw her head back and laughed. So you were also reborn. No wonder you're still alive and came back today. I pressed her head and forced the whole bowl down. I can live, but you might not. She choked and coughed violently. Hearing the commotion, my mother rushed in, ignoring the attempts to stop her. Is Yao okay? She hugged Yao distressedly. Her eyes filled with hatred as she looked at me. Yao is so unlucky to have you as an older sister. I really couldn't understand why she hated me. Whatever. If I can't figure it out, I won't think about it. I wiped my hands and looked at them, saying word by word, it's okay. She won't have to worry about so much for long. When I went out, only Chen Chang and Lu Yongzhou were left in the living room. Judging by their expressions, Lu Yongzhou already knew. His eyes were dark, and his knuckles tapped the table rhythmically. What he said was chilling. Yao said that your team colluded with outsiders, and she was afraid of attracting external enemies, so she planned to make a move in advance to have you all die outside. Chen Chang, who was loyal to the base, was instantly enraged after hearing this. I colluded with external enemies. I worked non-stop for the base all year round, and you believe her just like that? Where's the proof? Lu Yongzhou felt a bit guilty. In my position, I have to be responsible for tens of thousands of people in the base. I'd rather kill by mistake. I tore off the search team's epaulets and pulled Chen Chang away. You don't need to do anything. Yao is targeting me, so I quit. Compared to when I first woke up, I was much more clear-headed now. It's meaningless to just kill these scumbags. Yao wants a position second to none. Then I'll become someone at the peak of power. I wonder if she'll still want to have children for men then. Back at the dorm, I called all the team members and said with a serious attitude, I believe everyone has heard what happened today. The higher UPS are afraid we'll rebel and want to eliminate us secretly. I've resigned, and I'll be leaving the base tonight. They say I'm a traitor, so I'll make it official. Is there anyone willing to go with me? The room was silent. Someone advised me, Lu Jia, it's too dangerous outside. You don't need to leave the base even if you resign. You can find other jobs. That's right, Lu Jia. You don't have a shelter or supplies. Leaving the base is a dead end. Everyone spoke one after another, but without exception, they were all worried about my safety. Chen Chang broke the silence. He stood up, his tall figure looming over me. I'll go with He Lu. Everyone looked at each other, and after a moment, everyone stood up. Me too. Chen Chang handed me the map and asked me to plan the route, then took a few people out. Everyone exchange all the supplies you can. Leave nothing for the base. Across the crowd, Chen Chang and I exchanged a smile before getting busy with our own tasks. At exactly 10 o'clock in the evening, the entire team of 50 people was ready to go. This journey will be difficult, and I can't guarantee everyone's safety. It's not too late to back out now. No one flinched. Someone stepped forward to open the base gate and shouted, back out. Hell no. I've wanted to go solo for ages. Chen Chang patted my helmet, his smile gentle. Let's go. Everyone is listening to you. It's only a 5-hour drive from here to the neighboring city base. We'll drive there tonight to catch them off guard. According to the timeline of my previous life, the neighboring city has already descended into internal conflict. Once those people settle their scores, they'll continue to exploit the civilians. Now is the perfect time for me to take over. Most insects rest at night, but mutated mosquitoes are exceptionally active. Each mosquito is as big as a fist, and a bite will immediately poison you. The toxin invades the brain so quickly that there's no time for rescue. Most importantly, humans haven't developed an antidote yet. These mosquitoes are incredibly resilient. They can only be killed with a special laser pen. Floor it. If you encounter a swarm, just charge through. Speed is crucial. My aim is the most accurate here. If we run into mosquitoes, you guys go. I'll cover the rear. Headlights will attract swarms, so we have to drive in the dark the whole way. It's very difficult. I kept my eyes glued to the road ahead, navigating for Chen Chang. Suddenly, a chilling buzzing sound came from the roof of the car. It's a swarm of mutated mosquitoes. Judging by the volume, the whole car is probably covered in them. Mosquitoes. Chen Chang slowed down to let the car behind go first. Got it. Rear car is safe. Chen Chang didn't turn off the engine, slowly bringing the car to a stop. He held my hand as I was about to open the door. Only you know the way. You can't get out. The teammate next to me was impatient. Stop dawdling. Let's get out together. The mosquitoes will get in when you two open the doors anyway. You can't just let us get caught in a trap, can you? As if afraid I'd regret it, Chen Chang pulled down my face mask and said with a grin, let's go. Quick and done. The car windows already had cracks. We couldn't delay any longer. Bang. The doors opened and closed simultaneously. Chin Chong pulled out a flashbang to distract the mosquitoes, and the others aimed and shot. It was a close call, but we escaped danger again. After checking that it was safe inside the car, we set off again, and the convoy ahead also fell back in line. We didn't encounter any major dangers on the rest of the journey. It was still dark when we smoothly arrived at our destination. The defenses at the entrance were easily breached by us, and the way was unimpeded. Upon reaching the top floor living area, we found it filled with song and dance, a scene indistinguishable from a nightclub before the apocalypse. I turned off the music and turned on the incandescent light. A group of disheveled men and women screamed and scattered. The man in the lead was fat and greasy. At this moment, he didn't care about putting on clothes and was about to run away naked, with his backside exposed. "What are you running for? Stop shaking. Your hemorrhoids are showing." Chen Chong couldn't help but chuckle, sighed, and covered my eyes. Be careful not to have nightmares. The fight I imagined didn't happen. By the time the wrongdoers were all tied up and thrown together, I still couldn't figure out if He Yao had been held by these people for half a year in my previous life, so she didn't use any of the bracelet's energy at all. The base's infrastructure here is much better than the original. There are fewer people, and supplies are quite abundant. We spent 3 days inventorying supplies and reassigning work to the people here. With the support of the people, we took over this base without any effort. After the dust settled, the person in charge of guarding said that the fat pig wanted to see me. In the storage room, the fat pig leaned against the wall in a disheveled state, looking lewd. "Spare my life, and I'll tell you a secret. How about it?" I shrugged, nonchalantly saying, "A secret? You're with He Yao." He was shocked. "You knew?" "He Yao sold me out." I tossed him a bowl of rice. "I don't have a hobby of abusing prisoners, and your life isn't worth much, so just live on." While the farming project was in full swing here, intelligence came from an informant. He Yao was pregnant again. This time it's confirmed. It's a boy. When I saw my mom and her at the base entrance, I was inventorying equipment and preparing to rob her house. "Lulu, Mom brought your sister to defect to you. You won't refuse, will you?" The two of them looked like they were fleeing from disaster, and it seemed they had suffered a lot on the way. "My sister is quite capable. This road was cleaned up by us very thoroughly, and yet she still managed to make herself look so disheveled." I didn't miss the envy and venom in He Yao's eyes. "Of course not. You're welcome." The leader's wife ran off pregnant. He Yao might be playing a game of CEO chasing his wife. I had someone escort the two of them into the car. "It's been a tough journey. I'll take you for a joyride." He Yao's hands were tied behind her back. She realized something was wrong and blurted out, "He Lu, where are you taking me? Let me go. I'm not following you anymore." My mom desperately squeezed herself next to He Yao, tears flowing like water. "Lulu, your sisters. You can't harm her." I didn't say anything, quietly watching the scenery outside the window recede. "He Yao, today is your daughter's full moon celebration. As the mother, you're supposed to be revered like a goddess. How can you run away?" There were no outsiders in the car. Chen Chong already knew about the rebirth. "No, sister, I beg you, don't send me back. I'll die." In my previous life, He Yao thought I was the high and mighty leader's wife. She didn't consider that so many men in the base wanted their own flesh and blood. How could a hypocrite like Lu Yongzhou let such a good deal pass him by? Before I had even finished my postpartum confinement, Lu Yongzhou treated me like cargo and sent me to the beds of the base's male hire, UPS, under the guise of making good use of talent. It's my second pregnancy, and I don't even know who the father of the child is. At that time, I originally planned to die with those scumbags, but I didn't expect He Yao to intercept me. But that's fine. In this life, I'll let them die knowing why. I stared at her belly for a while, then smiled with relief. "You probably don't know whose child is in your belly, right?" She looked a bit confused, then suddenly realized. "You knew. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you harm me? Are you satisfied seeing me like this?" I found a torn cloth and stuffed it in her mouth. "Noisy and stupid. You don't even understand if giving birth to a child is only with one person, and you came to snatch the bracelet. This time, I'll let you die knowing why." As we spoke, we brought the female protagonist back to the full moon banquet scene. I didn't expect Lu Yongzhou's event to be so lively even, with a main character missing. I carried He Yao in my left hand and my mother in my right, while Chen Chong carried the fat pig, and we only got discovered when we reached the base hall. Lu Yongzhou's subordinates were in a panic, running upstairs, stumbling every few steps, shouting all the way, "Boss, boss, something's wrong." We followed him slowly and entered the banquet hall. My people went up to cut off the music and beckoned me up. "Sister Lu, hurry, A bunch of useless drunkards, without the labor force. Half of these people deserve to die. Lu Yongzhou rushed over, and judging by his appearance, he had just gotten out of bed. Mr. Lu, your pants zipper is not zipped up. Also, I've returned your wife and mother-in-law. Your wife is pregnant. Why are you letting her run around like this? You need to be stricter. Lu Yongzhou's face turned green. Lu, you took so many of my supplies when you left, and I didn't ask for them back. We're even. Don't push your luck too far. Your supplies. Those were things our team members saved and didn't redeem. Since people are gone, the things should go too. Your wife is back. Aren't you going to welcome her? Chen Chong shook the remote control in his hand and grinned. Let everyone listen to something good. After the static, He Yao's voice came from the speaker. As long as you kill He Lu, I'll help you take down the base. Just say He Lu is in cahoots with you. Don't worry, that idiot Lu Yongzhou won't find out. He Yao left herself no way out. In her call with the fat pig, she cursed the entire base from top to bottom, directly leading to no one speaking up for her now. Some of the higher UPS who were involved in this matter even wanted to execute her directly. Another voice switched. It was clearly Lu Yongzhou and the higher UPS conspiring to use He Yao for reproduction. I took a sip of red wine, the taste rushing straight to my brain. Brother-in-law, a true businessman. He became enraged, his eyes red, roaring. None of you are getting out of here alive. Someone, apprehend them. He shouted for a long time but no one responded. I picked up the conversation and shouted downstairs. Is it all taken care of? My teammates responded in unison. All taken care of. The informant held a pig's trotters, gnawing on it, and said, Sister Lu, you're finally here. After you left, the base's supplies ran out, and this pervert won't even let us eat our fill. Lu Yongzhou still didn't understand where he went wrong. But what does that have to do with me? Success stories are only told to those who are capable. I locked all the prisoners in the underground cells, specially creating a private room for He Yao and her husband, and another private room opposite for my mother, providing them with good food and drink. I also brought the child He Yao gave birth to. I won't raise a child that isn't mine. If there are no newborns, then there are no newborns. I can still live for decades. And I don't believe that no one can give birth in these decades. Half a year later, news came from the prison that He Yao had a miscarriage. Lu Yongzhou was responsible. By this time, I had merged the two bases. It was now the largest survivor base in the north, and I was the new leader of the entire base. I took some time to visit He Yao. The beauty had become quite haggard, cowering in the corner. Is this the superior ending you wanted? He Yao was slow to react. It took her a long time to understand what I was saying. Her eyes were vacant, and she kept rubbing the green line on her wrist, mumbling, Take it off, take it off. The green on her wrist was getting heavier and heavier, while the purple on my wrist had faded to the point of being invisible. This bracelet is quite spiritual. I must have used its energy very well, and it disappears on its own when it loses its function. I took blood from myself and He Yao and sent it to the laboratory. The scientists finally developed a drug to overcome infertility. Another half-year passed, and good news came from a newlywed couple at the base. The woman was pregnant. When He Yao heard the news, she smashed her head against the wall in prison and died. It is said that before she died, she muttered that she could have another chance. I took the milk Chen Chong brought and let out a long sigh. What does she think she is? That she can have a do-over whenever she wants. Outside the window, greenery was everywhere, and everything was bursting with new life. I believe the apocalypse is about to end.